Good morning, aspirants, and welcome to this amazing session brought to you by Sriram Zayas. Now, in this video, we will be discussing a very important current affair, and that is with respect to education, particularly education in rural India. Now, in this video, we will be discussing a report that has recently been brought to light, State of Elementary Education in Rural India 2023. Now, in this particular report, the aspects of education that have been taken up in rural India have been discussed. And उनका क्या relevance है particularly for UPSC civil services examination is something that we will be taking into consideration. So let's begin. Now, as far as the report goes, report was recently released by Ministry of Education, and this report has discussed the importance and relevance of technology. Sim- to simplify things, the prevalence of smartphone usage among students. So this report is basically based on a survey that was conducted by the Development Intelligence Unit. Now, this DIU unit is basically a collaboration between various NGOs, the Transform Rural India and Sambodhi Research and Communications. Apart from that, the survey had gathered responses from around 6,229 parents of school children aged between 6 to 16 years. And this was happening only in rural communities across 21 states. So basically, the data segment is quite wide and vibrant. So we will have to consider this report while we are answering questions with respect to education, education related policy, particularly in GS2. So whenever there's a question with respect to GS2, we will have to consider this particular report. Make sure that you note it down. What are the key findings of this report? Let's understand that. So basically, they have looked into the usage of smartphones in rural India, particularly by school children. They have found out that somewhere around 49%, almost 50%, 49.3% have access to smartphones. Further, what has been found out is the fact that 76% of the parents have shown that their children primarily are using smartphones for playing video games, which means that the preference for usage of smartphones is basically for entertainment purposes, which is an alarming situation. मतलब ये कि बच्चों के हाथ में वो फोन टेक्नोलॉजी का एक जरिया नहीं है, एक तरीके से खिलौना है. So this particular khilona, this particular toy, that smartphone, which has become a source of video games and everything, is not used फॉर एजुकेशनल पर्पसेस. एंड ये एक ऐसी चीज है जो आप अगर अपने पेरेंट्स के साथ डिस्कस करेंगे, हम अपने हम उम्र के साथ डिस्कस करते हैं. सो दिस इज वन प्रॉब्लम दैट वी हैव डिस्कस्ड ओवर नंबर ऑफ टाइम्स. In fact, around 56.6% of the students, they use smartphones to download and watch movies. तो वो movies download करते हैं, movies देखते हैं. 47% of them, they are downloading and listening to music, and that is it. So basically, music, games, videos, movies, that is the purpose of smartphone, or that is what the problem of access to these things has been solved by smartphones rather than access to education. So this is something that we'll have to consider while framing the policies. Further, only 34% of the students, they are using smartphones for study related downloads. बाकी सब बेसिकली मूवीज गेम्स एंड इन सब चीजों में इन्वॉल्व है. 18%, ओनली 18% access online learning via tutorials. So this is an alarming situation. This is something that we will have to consider when we are framing education policy, or when we are looking to have access to education through ICT tools. इंफॉर्मेशन कम्युनिकेशन टेक्नोलॉजी के बेसिस पर, अगर टूल्स के बेसिस पर हम एजुकेशन को एक्सपैंड करना चाहते हैं, उसके होराइजन को बढ़ाना चाहते हैं, देन वील हैव टू कंसिडर अ लॉट ऑफ फैक्टर्स डिस्कस्ड इन दिस रिपोर्ट. देन it is not just that. There is a differential access based on class. Now, smartphone access varies from different class levels. So, if any student is in higher classes, which is 8th standard and above, they have greater access to smartphones. If they are younger, they will have lesser access. For example, for class 1 to class 3, you have 42% of students having access to smartphones. Mind you, ये rural India के ऊपर report है. Now, this tells you that smartphone usage prevalence is higher across age groups, and still 42% को भी अगर आप देखेंगे, it is not too less a number. It is 4 out of 10 children, they are using smartphones even in class 1 till class 3, which is an alarming number. Further, in fact, if you look at this data, this is basically a percentage based data for boys and girls with respect to the expected level of education. Now, if students are asked and if their parents are asked what is their aspiration for their children, so the expected level of education of a child, if it is a boy, if it is up to elementary level, only 4.4%. If it is a girl, it is less than that. Further, up to secondary level, further less, 2.4% and 2.8%. Higher secondary, 11%. As you move higher up the ladder, you would see an increase in the percentage with respect to girls. Now, this table shows the parental expectation of a child's educational attainment, which means more the girls study, more is the aspiration of their parents from them. So, parents को अपनी लड़कियों से ज्यादा एक्सपेक्टेशंस होंगी, ज्यादा एस्पिरेशंस होंगी, जितना ज्यादा वो पढ़ने लगेंगी. 78%. Now this data shows that 78% of the parents, they aspire for their girls to attain graduation or higher degrees. और ये आगे जाते जाते फिगर बढ़ती है. But there is a concern. There are dropping out rates at alarming levels. Parents of a section of girls have said that their daughters dropped out of school to help out family earnings. That has been found out. In fact, the survey says that 80% of the parents, they aspire for the children to become graduates or to attain higher degrees, where only 78% of the parents for girls, which is less 2%, but still is a very significant number. 78% of them want their girls to have graduation and higher degrees as well. Further, as far as the data is concerned, it's just replicated here. Only 40%, if you look at this number, only 40% of the parents, they have daily conversation with their children कि भाई आज स्कूल में पढ़ाया क्या गया है. 32% only engage in such conversations a few days a week. हर रोज नहीं पूछते, हफ्ते में किसी किसी दिन पूछ लेते हैं, जब मन करता है पूछते हैं. Now, as far as the dropout ratios are concerned, the school dropout reasons for girls particularly, it has been found out that around 36.8% of the parents, they mention that they need to contribute to the family income. तो इसीलिए लड़कियों ने स्कूल जाना छोड़ दिया. Meanwhile, around 31.6% have attributed the dropout to their children ड्यू टू लैक ऑफ इंटरेस्ट इन स्टडीज. बच्चे का पढ़ाई में मन नहीं लगता है तो वो स्कूल छोड़ जाते हैं. एंड 21% आर बिलीव्ड हाउस होल्ड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज प्लेड एन इंपॉर्टेंट रोल, कि घर की जिम्मेदारी संभालने के लिए बच्चों का स्कूल में जाना मुश्किल हो गया, इसलिए हमने उनकी पढ़ाई छुड़वा दी. सो ये तीन बेसिक कारण है. नाउ इफ यू नोटिस, these reasons are not very complicated reasons. These are the reasons which are the grassroots problems of India's rural education component when it comes to India's education policy. तो अगर आप जिस दिन भी एक रूरल इंडिया के किसी डिस्ट्रिक्ट में जाते हैं एज एन आईएएस ऑफिसर, मेक श्योर दैट यू वर्क अकॉर्डिंगली एंड रिमूव दीज इश्यूज. क्योंकि अगर आप एजुकेशन पे काम करते हैं तो यू वुड नोटिस, जैसा कि इस डेटा में भी बताया गया है, दैट पेरेंट्स डू वांट देयर चिल्ड्रन टू स्टडी. इट्स जस्ट दैट देयर आर सर्टेन रीजंस जो उनके फैमिली बैकग्राउंड से या उनके अर्निंग के बैकग्राउंड से, फाइनेंशियल वायबिलिटीज के रीजन की वजह से या वेरियस अदर सोशल रीजंस, वो अपनी एजुकेशन को कंटिन्यू नहीं कर पाते हैं. इस चीज को आपने चैलेंज करना है एंड यू शुड ब्रिंग अबाउट चेंज हियर. एज फार एज बॉयज आर कंसर्न, फॉर एग्जांपल, द प्राइमरी रीजन फॉर ड्रॉप आउट इज बेसिकली लैक ऑफ स्टडीज. लड़कों का पढ़ाई में मन नहीं लगता है. लेट्स चेंज दैट ऑल्सो. इसको भी बदलना जरूरी है ना. फर्दर, parent teacher meetings and learning environment. When you talk about parent teacher meeting and learning environment, 84% of the parents, they have said that there have been regular attendance. Further, there have been two main reasons for non-attendance. 84% पेरेंट्स कह रहे हैं कि हमारा बच्चा स्कूल जाता है जी and attendance complete karta hai. Whereas there are two reasons for non-attendance. One is short notice, the other one is lack of willingness. So there is lack of willingness to come to school, there is lack of willingness with respect to learning, and then there are short notices कि आज उसके घर जाना है, आज यहाँ जाना है, आज ये काम है, आज वैसे. So there are short notice non-attendance reasons. Further, as far as the availability of age appropriate reading material is concerned, other than textbooks, it has been found that around 40% of the parents, 40% of the parents consider that there is a need for further resources to support children's learning at home. तो जो लर्निंग मटेरियल ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल है, 40% लोगों को लगता है कि वो कंप्लीट नहीं है, वी नीड मोर स्टफ. Now, what is the recommendation here? The recommendation is that we need to have targeted efforts so that we can enhance educational environment even at home. So what we have realized through this report, through this survey, there is a clear cut significant impact of household situation and environment on the education of a chap at rural India. सो रूरल इंडिया के अंदर आपको बच्चों की एजुकेशन को इंप्रूव करना है, तो आपको रूरल सिनेरियो, रूरल सोशल सेटअप को भी इंप्रूव करना होगा. ओनली देन यू विल इंश्योर अ रिडक्शन इन ड्रॉप आउट रेशियोज, एंड यू विल आल्सो have an impact on better usage of what, of ICT tools. आप अंधाधुंध आईसीटी टूल्स नहीं लगा सकते हैं, बिकॉज अभी ये परसीव किया गया है दैट मेनी चिल्ड्रन दे आर in fact using it for educational purposes, and still many of them are also using it for entertainment purposes. So entertainment, entertainment, entertainment का ई उठाइए और education, education, education वो कीजिए. All right. On that note, I recommend you all to go through the entire set of courses that Shriram Zayas brings to you guys on Unacademy platform. In fact, ऐसी ही एक वीडियो इवनिंग में भी अपलोड होगी और आप सब लोगों को देखनी है, वो अंशुम सर बनाए. ठीक है जी. Further, we have a public administration course live and running, so make sure to go and check that out on Unacademy platform. Shriram's IS is also bringing to you a mission 1 year with Shriram's IS for UPSC CSE 2024. उसे भी नहीं छोड़ना है. The batch is starting. It is foundation to advance, 600 plus hours of live classes. आपने हर एक क्लास को लाइव अटेंड करना है. Make sure to note one more thing down, and that is the referral code. What is it? SRIRAMS. That is Srirams. Make sure to follow this through. Till next time, make sure to keep calm and stay tuned to all the initiatives that Sriram Zayas brings to you guys. Thank you. Many more lectures are to come just like this. Take care and God bless you all. Bye bye.